Yo, people, what's going on? Back again with another footy talk. Savas in the building. What's happening, my guy?
Rants, it's been a long time. How are you, brother? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm better when I don't have to watch United play. I'll be honest. You know what I mean? The football is some of the worst stuff I've ever seen in my life, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's great to not have to watch them play football. I'll be completely honest.
Is it like Conte-esque type football going on at Man United right now?
Yeah, it's horrible, man.
Oh,
I'm
mate.
saying I'm watching my team struggle here to break down a League One relegation fodder in Wigan Athletic yesterday. Crazy.
Yeah, it's not quite working. But you've got a lot of players out, so positives, and you got Tottenham this weekend. So who knows? Who knows for your boys, eh?
I'm not optimistic. I mean, like we can't score goals. Like our attackers didn't score again yesterday. Had to rely on a fullback to score a goal from 20 yards and a dive from our captain who has no shame. You know what I mean? So that literally that's what we had to rely on to win a game against a team that I think are 17th in the championship. No, in League One, sorry. I believe. So yeah, no, it's nasty. It's nasty stuff, man. When our attackers can't score against players like that, you can't really back them against Premier League players.
Yeah, it's tough. You definitely need something at Man United, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not as in depth with Man U as I suppose you are. Why are you not making moves in the window? Is it to do with the 25% ownership, and is all of that stopping you, or are you just not got money to spend? What's happening? Why are you not buying players?
I don't think they're giving the manager any new players because I don't think they're keeping him. If I'm honest,
Mhm.
I don't believe these guys. I think they've already agreed to replace him.
Mhm.
I think they've already agreed to replace him, and it's a situation where it's when, not if. I believe they're waiting for the first high profile loss to sack him. And if he goes on like a little mini resurgence, I think he'll get sacked at the end of the season anyway. I think there's no way back for him. He finished bottom of the Champions League group, and he's not going to make top four, and he's not going to win a trophy. What would keep him in the job?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know what? I was speaking to my mate the other day, who's a Man U fan, and he's like, "Oh, when are we going to get rid of this guy?" And I said, "It always feels to me that when he's on the verge of, that little push over the edge, it's almost like he grabs that win. He always
Yep.
grabs that scrappy little dirty win, and it's like a phew. Then you lose, and everyone goes, "Oh, he's got to go," and then he grabs that scrappy win again. So it's difficult because obviously you don't want your team to lose, but you almost need to see 3 or 4 on the bounce, don't you? So that he can
But this is exactly what happened
go.
under Jose, and people, and same with Ollie, and people are like, "Oh, you're not a real fan if you want your team to lose." And I was just like, "Bro, whatever, innit?" You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's tough love, man. This is what you gotta do. Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind in life, innit? Sometimes you need to go backwards to go forwards, and that's what it is with Manchester United. It's like every time we win a game, I just feel like we are just prolonging the inevitable. So it's like just sack him anyway. Like that's what it is. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of them ones where you always have to do that in life. At the end of the day, sometimes you have to take an L to move forward, innit? And you have to be uncomfortable for a short period of time to kind of rebuild yourself, innit? But I don't know. It'll be interesting. But I reckon he gets sacked no matter what because he's not their guy. And when you get new owners, if you're not their guy, your job's never safe.
But are they, I mean, just to make sure I'm 100% right with this, just so I'm not being ignorant and chatting rubbish. So my understanding is that, so Jim Ratcliffe is in with his 25% stake, but with that 25% stake comes the running of the transfers and the sporting side. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Which
right.
is
Okay, cool.
it's a very good deal for the Glazers. It's a very good deal for the Glazers because that means they get to bring in people with the expertise to make the business run better than it has ran before, and they're
Yeah.
only giving up a small percentage of their revenue. So it's more than worth it for them because even if they can increase the value of the club by 10%, do you know what I'm saying? Like, and they're doing less work and making more money.
Oh, listen, and I suppose as a fan, are you happy that he's coming in and doing that, or is it a kind of big question mark? Because obviously you don't know what he's going to do. Is that how are the United fans feeling about that 25%?
I'm optimistic about it anyway. Like I don't know about a lot of these other Man United fans because these guys are they're weird, innit? Like when we didn't know who the owners were gonna be, these guys were saying they didn't want the Qataris, X, Y, Z. And then we got Ratcliffe and then they're complaining, saying they didn't want Ratcliffe. But it was like when you thought the Qataris were gonna win, you lot were saying, oh yeah, cool, we want Ratcliffe. So it's just like whatever, innit? Like these guys don't
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
clue what's
yeah,
going on. These guys are
yeah.
idiots. So
But he is in 100%. He has assumed that role, is he already?
they're saying that it becomes official in February, but these guys are working already. You saw in the game, last game, there was David Gill was there with Brailsford and Blanc in the crowd, innit? We're not going to see
Right.
Ratcliffe at games because he doesn't need to be at games. It's the Ineos team, yeah. The guys that are on the board. He's basically just a money man. He's not the guy that's going to be involved in the decision making in terms of recruitment. That's going to be Brailsford and it's probably going to be Blanc. Like Ratcliffe won't be involved in any of that. So people need to understand that he'll have a similar presence at the club to the Glazers. You won't see him that often. He's got loads of different things that he's doing. He's got other
Yeah.
clubs. He's got other clubs and so on and so forth. So I think we'll be seeing a lot of Blanc and we'll be seeing a lot of Brailsford. And now they're saying that David Gill is back involved in some capacity as well. I don't know what that means.
I mean, I think it is interesting because if the official start date is the 1st of February, which is very convenient for a transfer window, right? If the official start date is the 1st of February, even if they are at the helm right now unofficially, do you want to give a manager that you are umming and ahhing about? Do you want to say, go on, there's 100 million. Go on, spend our first £100 million,
Hell
but we
no.
might sack you in March. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I get it. And like one on my show this morning, like whenever I'm told to be grateful for Daniel Levy, by the way, which always brings a wry smile to my face, as you know, Rants. Oh, at least we're making moves. Look what Man U need. And I'm like, yeah, but Man United are in a different circumstance. Man United are with a manager the fans don't want. The ownership is in the middle of changing hands. I would expect them to probably not do anything in this window unless it is a loan move where there's no
Yep.
risk for anybody financially. At
Yep.
Tottenham, when our owners are going nowhere, we've just brought in a brand new we brought in a brand new director of football, a brand new chief football officer. I didn't know they existed, by the way. CFO, I always thought was a chief finance officer. Right,
Okay.
chief football officer, technical director, brand new scouts, brand new academy, new manager. So for us, that's why we're making moves. We've got to, you know what I mean? We've got to say, hang on, this is why we've just implemented this whole new team. You guys aren't there yet. And that's why I don't think you're making moves, but you need a goal scorer. I know we could say that of Chelsea and we could say that of Arsenal. And you need a goal scorer, Rants, because I don't need to tell you. You just need a goal scorer, don't you?
Yeah, but the thing is, like in modern football, it's not even about needing a goal scorer. It's like you need goal scorers.
Yeah.
You need multiple goal scorers. The days of relying on one man to get your goals are long gone. Football doesn't really work like that anymore. It's very much a system game where you need to share the responsibility. And the lack of genuine quality in the game now is very, very disturbing. It's very disturbing. Like there's no one anywhere. There's no one anywhere. All these players that we're getting linked with that are supposed to be upgrades on what we already have are not good either.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's bad.
It's interesting. I mean, I look at your team and look, I do feel that. Sorry, Florian Plettenberg's just. Have you seen all the Spurs news? Sorry, in the last 20 minutes.
No, what's going on?
Oh God! So Spurs had a bid accepted this morning for Dragusin of Genoa.
Yeah, the Genoa.
Yeah, and it was 25 million euros plus 5 million. Sorry to go on a tangent. 25 million euros, 5 million euro add-ons plus Jed Spence to go to Genoa on loan. So it looked like we're all sitting there today in my show just now before hopefully the raid came over here, all sitting here going, right, at what time is the here we go from Romano? And then while we were live, we got the Romano saying that Bayern Munich are hijacking the deal and have slapped down their first offer, which is more than Tottenham's. So,
Damn.
rants. We've been talking to him since the 29th of December.
Yeah, but this is why, yeah. But this is why you have to do your business, yeah. In quiet and quickly, bruv.
Quick.
You know what I'm saying? And also offering them Jed Spence on loan, bruv, that's good for them, no?
Yeah. I think that was part of it. Well, look, it was taking ages, and a lot of Spurs fans going, hang on, why is this difficult? We're not talking about wrapping up Declan Rice for 105 million. We're not talking about trying to get Ivan Toney away from Brentford for 100 million pounds. We're talking about getting a 21-year-old for 25 million euros. So then when that bid came in, it was like, right, they're accepting it, but with Jed Spence. And Spurs have already agreed personal terms. Everyone was expecting the here we go. But apparently there's, Rants, apparently the biggest word in transfers. Apparently Jed Spence needed to be convinced to go to Italy because he's gone to, in the last 12, 18 months, he's gone to France, to Leeds, to Northeast, to London, now to Italy. And then off the back of that, bang, Bayern Munich put in their bid that's more. And both bids have been accepted by Genoa. So it's down to Dragusin now, Bayern Munich or Tottenham Hotspur. What you doing, Rants? What are you and your people in your chat saying? Where are you going?
It depends, innit? Like on what deal he had with Tottenham. Because if you're looking at Bayern Munich, it's like, are you gonna play? Do you know what I mean? And also Thomas Tuchel brings you in. The chances are Tuchel's getting sacked, yeah. Like very soon, and then you're gonna have a new manager and he might not fancy you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, So it's one of them ones where if you're a young player, it depends. If you know the politics of football, you got to be thinking, you know what, if this Tottenham manager brings me in and he wants me, the chances are, it's looking like he's going to be there a little while. He's just come in. It seems like, the more stable option. And the thing is, if he goes to Bayern Munich and he don't get no game time and he don't go nowhere, like, where'd you go from there? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll die quietly. No one don't watch the Bundesliga. Do you know what I mean? This is what people don't understand. Like, the Bundesliga, like, no one watches that shit. Like, if you go there and you flop, you ain't gonna have loads of big clubs looking for you, bruv. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, no, that's not gonna happen.
I think the interesting thing is, and again, apparently, that there's been so many reports that they're trying to get in a centre back so that De Ligt can go out. So it could be that a case that whoever is coming,
sell De Ligt.
Yeah, apparently, they're trying to sell. Apparently, biggest word in the world, trying to sell De Ligt. So it would mean that they've then got what? Upamecano, Kim Min-jae, and then Dragusin. Now, Tuchel's been known to play
free at the back sometimes.
Free at the back.
Right.
Dragusin can also play right back. I believe that Upamecano's had some injury problems as well.
Yeah. But he's always injury prone, to be fair to him.
So, but then you look at Tottenham and you say, well, hang on, Spurs have got Van der Ven and Romero and nothing else. But the question you'd be asking yourself at Spurs at the moment, surely, is we're playing once a week. So if he does start Van der Ven and Romero every game, does Dragusin get a game? So listen, I don't know. For me, I feel like Bayern Munich might be too much of a lure. But
it might be. But I'm sure you'll have backups anyway for him if, for instance, he doesn't go there. But I don't know. And also, De Ligt, he's trash, man. I remember all the hype around De Ligt, all the hype around him, and he just kind of faded into obscurity all them years. Imagine he went to one of the biggest clubs in the world and everyone stopped talking about him. So that tells you how well he's done. Do you know what I mean? Because usually when you do well at a big club, people are talking about you, and he's just vanished. He vanished. So I've never been a fan of him. Like
that might be why they're trying to. He
looks like Harry Maguire, bruv. Like Dutch Harry Maguire. That's what he looks like.
Harry Maguire.
Yeah, man.
That might be why they're trying to move him on.
Yeah,
might be why they're trying to move him on.
He can't move. You know what I'm saying? He can't move. Like overhyped ball playing centre back. Like what is it, man? He's not good, man.
But by the way, you do know Dragusin wasn't our first choice, right? So our first choice was Jean-Claire Todibo from OGC Nice.
Yeah, but I heard that he turned us down. I thought he was open to going to you lot.
Yeah, he probably is. But I think what OGC Nice would want as a fee. Look, let's be fair. Daniel Levy's haggling over getting a 25 million euro fee in, right? With 5 million euros on top. That's 25.7 million pounds or something. To Debo, apparently they wanted 55 million euros, something like that. Levy's not interested in these games. Levy doesn't want these signings. So what we're doing again is saying, right, everyone we bring in is going to have to be in and around that kind of 25 to 35 million euro price. And you're going to have to hope that the manager works absolute wonders with every player he brings in. And as we know, some players you will work wonders with. Some players you won't.
Bruv,
So
don't
we'll
want to
see.
negotiate. That's technically, we need him, to be honest, and he's at our feeder club, so hopefully we can do something, innit? But I don't know. It's one of them. He's a very good player. If you could get him, that would be proper. But I don't know. At least you should be optimistic that your team's actually doing something in the market because it was needed.
Listen, hopefully, I mean, look, typical Spurs. Listen, this is the Spurs cynic in me at my age. Spurs have just in the last 2 minutes announced Timo Werner has signed, right? So Timo Werner's completed his medicals. It comes 20 minutes after Bayern Munich have bid for Dragusin. You know, these teams, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. So yeah, look, we'll see. We'll see. I've got a feeling that if we don't get Dragusin, by the way, at the moment, I'm 60% saying I think we will. If we don't get him, I think you then go down to something like a Tosin or a Bio. That's what I think we'll do.
To be honest, whoever you get, I trust your manager to get a tune out of them because what he's done with like Emerson and stuff like that, it shows that your manager is he's sticking to his guns about how he wants to play, and it's pretty much it's working well enough for him.
Yeah, look. I think there's a difference though between doing that for players in the short term versus players you bring in for the long term. So Werner, yeah, he can do that for him in the short term. Hopefully, let me ask, Rats. I don't know your opinion on this. Timo Werner, loan deal to Spurs. What do you make of Timo?
I think it's a good signing. I think that there's nothing that can go wrong there. There's nothing to lose. Like, it's a player that knows the league. It's a player that knows London because he's lived there already. He suits the way you play in terms of he's quick, he's direct, he wants to move in behind. And considering you're not gonna have Son for a little while, like in terms of just an extra body, in terms of like someone to add to the squad, he's experienced enough, and he's decent because you're not paying for him. Like, you're not paying any money for him. Like, how many players are you gonna get like on loan to come in and do the job that you're gonna ask him to do that are better than him in January? There's not gonna be many. I think it's a decent signing, man. Especially when you've got Johnson on the wing, who's young, he's inexperienced. Profile wise, I think you've done all right with him.
I think my line all the way along is I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I'm on the fence with it. I can see what Timo brings, pace. I think he gets into some wonderful positions. My caveat to all of this, Rants, has been, does he bring his shooting boots? Because in the style of play Spurs play, he's going to get chances. He's got a chance to make himself a cult hero here. He could come in, grab 10 goals in the last 18 games, get a move to Spurs for £14 million, by the way, to buy. 14 million. And we could go one of the best bits of transfer in Premier League history. Or he could come in, not hit a cow's arse with a banjo, and we're sitting there going, well, that was a waste of a forward. So, look, I'm hoping it's the first. You always got to hope that a player coming into your club, it is the first one. I don't know. I feel like he's definitely a confidence player, right?
Yeah.
Definitely a confidence player. But if the manager wants him, the manager's got him. It's up to the manager to get a tune out of him, right? So we'll see.
100%.
Good luck to him.
I think there's no pressure on him because most people think he's rubbish anyway. So where's the pressure?
No, that's true.
You know what I mean? There's not really any pressure on Timo Werner to come here and set the place on fire because he didn't set the place on fire at Chelsea. So with that, it could almost work in his favor because people think he's rubbish, but then he's coming in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, feeling like, yo, I've got something to prove here. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that he can use that to his benefit and come in and actually play a part. If he plays an integral part and you not finishing in the top four, you can say that he's done. You say he's done his job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, listen, as I said, I'll be honest. My first opinion, I was like, "Oh my god, what are we doing?" The more I think about it, I mean, it's Spurs aren't a club that are going to go out and say, "Right, who's your first choice centre forward? Go and whack down a fee that makes the club let that player go in January."
Exactly.
We're not that club. I'll reserve judgment. I don't think he's the worst player we could have signed. I'm just a bit underwhelmed for me at the moment, but I'll reserve judgment and hopefully he bangs in goals for fun. So we'll see. We'll see.
That's absolutely underwhelming. But like you said, on loan, who are you gonna get that's better than him? Like the market's dry. So if you can get him on loan and you can get a centre back in, then it's a decent window. Especially if the centre back's about 25 to 30 million euros as well.
I tell you what, for me, I'll tell you what was the disappointing thing for me is when I look at a lot of Spurs forwards, Spurs have not got one forward whose game is holding the ball up, bringing others into the game. That kind of technical player. You put any ball into Richarlison, it bounces off him and flies out the stadium. Sonny is a reactive footballer. He's very much get it to his feet and let him run. Brennan Johnson's the same. He wants pace in behind. I just thought we might try something different. Someone that can get that ball forward, bring in the quicker players. I'm not saying him, but like a Firmino type. Someone whose job is not as sexy, but links up the play, and is the kind of silent hero. But we've gone for another speed player. I just worry about his finishing. That's my worry.
Yeah, but there's not too many of these players in world football. I was having this conversation with Lee. Like, when you think about world football, yeah, like, these players don't exist no more. Now these number 9s are just pressing machines. They're donkeys. They ain't got first touch. Can't hold the ball. Can't bring people into play. Like, they're all rubbish. That's why Ivan Toney is so expensive, because he can press, he can hold the ball, he can bring people in, he can finish. He's one of a very, very small number of players that can play that way. He's one of the only ones. So when we're thinking about strikers, like, if you're a centre back in the Premier League, what striker are you really worried about coming up against, like, physically? Like, none of them. Like, none of them. Even Hojlund doesn't play on the centre backs. He doesn't. He plays in space. He scores most of his goals.
Yeah, true.
Arriving and scoring in space. You don't see him tussling with.
There's no Shearers and Ferdinands, and Duncan Ferguson,
and the Davis of this world, and the Badukas, and that. They don't exist no more. Like, these guys are not backing into players no more. Like, even Olivier Giroud. Like, there's no one like that now.
I'd see. Do you know what? I would take Giroud. See, now I know that sounds mad. Giroud is who I was explaining, right?
Yeah.
Unglamorous. You're not bringing him in to score 10 in 20, but I just imagine we play really quick. Spurs do. I can imagine the ball going into him holding it up, waiting for the pace of Werner, Johnson, Son. Waiting for that pace. But no, you're right. Are there players like that? There's not many about.
There's not, but that's why when Man United were getting linked with Choupo-Moting, and I see a lot of Man United fans turning their nose up at him, but, like, he's played for PSG and Bayern Munich, and he's better than Hojlund. Hojlund's an absolute joke of a footballer, man. Like, what a horrible signing we got. He's
no hope for him in the future.
He's rubbish, man. Like, it's just one of them things where, at least with Choupo-Moting, I know he's strong. And I know what I'm going to get. It's just like when we got linked with Arnautovic. I was like, yeah, cool, I'll take him. Can hold the ball, strong, he's intelligent, you know what I mean? And he can score a goal if he gets the opportunity. Man United fans turning their nose up at Arnautovic. Instead, you spend 72 million on a kid that scored 9 goals in a league that gets top scored by pensioners every year.
I'll tell you, a player like Arnautovic is definitely the rough with the smooth. You know what you're getting. You're getting... Arnautovic is tactically, that's the complete wrong word, technically fantastic.
Yeah, he's
Do you know what I
top
mean?
notch.
He one of those. The ball goes into him. He kills it stone dead. But not only killing it stone dead, he kills it stone dead in a position where he knows his next pass. Right?
Yeah.
I love that type of footballer. Across the world, you're right. I mean, we always talk about forwards, me and you, Rants, but where are any forwards anyway? Everyone seems to be a wide forward stroke winger these days.
If they're centre forwards, they got no first touch and all they do is press. That's
yeah.
all they do is just press, and they can't control the ball and you play into them. They're rubbish. Like, they're rubbish, man.
Paul Dickoff would be one off right now with his pressing.
Bro, but this is what I'm saying. Like, at the moment,
Isn't he?
we're at the point where we're seeing a resurgence of Alvaro Morata now. That's how bad,
He's scoring
the
goals,
striker
isn't he?
market is. Morata went from people saying he was rubbish, which he never was. He just lacks a killer instinct. He's a very tidy player, but he lacks that killer instinct. And then now people are talking about him again.
What do you make? I mean, like when I look across the world for forwards like that, I mean, my mind straight away goes to Schick, Vlahovic, and then my mind goes, look, I'll ask you this question. This is going to be a controversial one for the chat. Are people too harsh on a Lukaku? Because I'm not saying Lukaku's the greatest technical footballer I've ever seen, far from it. But he is that big, hustling, bustling centre forward that centre-backs do not want to play against because he will cause you problems and can bring others into the game. Oh, could he be a shout for somebody in this era where there's no forwards?
Oh.
I'm not saying he's great, by the way. I'm not saying Spurs.
No, but I know what you're
Lukaku,
saying. But the problem with Lukaku is he doesn't offer a press because he can't press.
That's true.
And then he's not scoring, like, unless you're scoring like Erling or Harry Kane numbers of goals, you can't get away with not pressing in a modern game. Like, you can't get away with it. The only way you can get away with not pressing is if you're like ruthless, which he isn't. So it's one of them ones where, I don't know, Lukaku's trash for me, but yeah, and also even his body, he doesn't use his body as well as he should for someone his size. He should absolutely be killing centre backs. Like, centre backs should be looking for him and legging it.
Yeah, I just remember Lukaku's had one of those really funny careers, hasn't he? Where I think Lukaku's either looks like a brilliant centre forward or dreadful, and there's kind of no in the middle with him. You know what I mean?
It looks great for the rubbish teams, though. You know what I mean? It looks worse for the better teams.
What about Lautaro Martinez? Like this guy.
I don't like Lautaro, you know. I think he's a scrub. He just got loads of energy.
Let me ask you a question, though, right? We did this yesterday. Lautaro Martinez is one of those, seems loved or hated, right, by people. Again, no middle ground. But do you know, I think somebody said yesterday, there's only 4 players, four centre forwards in the last 5 years that have scored like 25 plus goals in all competitions. And Lautaro is one of them. He does, whatever we say, Rants, the boy puts the ball in the net. He does, he knows how to finish. But I just wonder why, you know, what is it? Okay, what is it? What don't you like about him? What is it that you don't like about his game?
I just think he lacks quality. And I think he needs someone next to him. He's not the main guy. Do you know what I mean? He's almost like, he thrives when he's the second guy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah.
For what he would cost to be the main guy, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Nah, not for me.
No,
I don't.
Fair enough.
I don't rate him at all. But he gets numbers, man.
I agree with you. He needs to play with.
Also in a weak league as well.
It's almost like he's like a throwback to when you remember the days when everyone had a big man, small man.
Yeah.
You know, almost like he needs. God, you'll remember these too. I was going to say, you'll remember these. Like when you had Niall Quinn, Kevin Phillips vibes.
Quinn and Phillips,
right?
Yep. Heskey and Owen.
Yeah.
Like Carew and Agbonlahor.
Yeah,
you know them ones there. Like that's what it is. You need that, man. But
Hasselbank, Idegard Johnson. You know,
Always, you always need that. Do you know what I mean? They had flow as well. Then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like You need these partnerships, innit? He can't. In the modern game, a lot of the teams play. Especially in the Premier League anyway. Do you know what I mean? In Italy, you'll see a few teams might play 2 up front, but you don't really see 2 up front in the Prem. You don't really see it anymore.
No, it will come back. I think it's one of these things in football. Football goes in cycles. It's like fashion, goes in cycles. You know, I remember when Blazers on a night out were the thing. Then they weren't. Then they were back. You know what I mean? Like, I think football will change at some point. But I'll tell you, do you know who'd be the perfect modern day striker right now? Craig Bellamy, pressing, annoying.
Yeah,
channels.
He'd be scoring for fun in this football. Yeah, 100%.
Wouldn't he? Craig Bellamy.
Because he weren't the most technical, and you could tell. But in this game, like, what's the difference between him and a Timo Werner? Like, apart from the fact that he's probably a better finisher, that's about it.
I was going to say the obvious. Yeah. Hey, listen, don't you talk about Timo like that. He's a Spurs player now, as of 20 minutes ago. But yeah, look, I do hear you, but I guess that's why clubs are panicking and paying the fees that they are for players like Rasmus Hojlund. You know, a player has a decent 6 months and people go, oh my God. Like Dominic Solanke right now is the case in point for that.
Yeah, people talking about Arsenal now for Solanke.
Right.
Yeah, like they don't have Nketiah already.
Yeah, like Dominic Solanke, I think is a good striker at the right club. I think and by the way, I think he's at the right club where he's the main man. He's the focus of everything. Let's be honest. There is no pressure on him at Bournemouth, right? It is, I'm the star, not the star player, but you know, I'm the man. I will score the goals. You drop him in now to Chelsea, United, Arsenal. All of a sudden, those fans aren't as forgiving. When that ball goes into him and it bounces off him, fans aren't going, well, don't worry, he scores goals. They're going, what is this? Right?
But this is the point.
Pressure, right?
This is the point, though. That's why these players always do, well at these dead teams, because people don't watch them for 90 minutes. They just see that they keep scoring every week.
Right.
But when these guys are making mistakes, they're not getting hammered for it because the expectation is extremely low. It's extremely low, and this is the thing. So they say that they're good, but bro, how often can you do them? Because even like the other day, what's his name? Who was it? Was it Bamford that scored that mad goal?
Yeah. He scored a worldie, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored an absolute mad goal, and you know what the funny thing is? He was meant to be one of them star boys when he was coming through. Everyone was hyping him up. Do you know what I mean? And look where he is now. Do you know what I'm saying? That's it. Bruv, that's what I mean. It's going to be another one. Look where he is now, innit? Like, it's one thing having the ability. He's shown with that goal that he has ability to do crazy things. But it's, can you do it consistently? And can you also do it when there's pressure on you to perform every single week? And the reality is most of these guys cannot. And that's why when all these football fans start talking nonsense about ceilings, bro, like ceilings, based off what? Like, if you're judging a player's future on their ability alone, then boy, you don't understand football.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. We've had this chat before. The word ceilings by football fans drives me potty. It drives me insane. How on earth do any football fan know what a player's ceiling is? The people who know first of all, hate the word ceiling, but a player's potential is based on, one, the players, not just their talent. It's a mixture of things. Who do they surround themselves with? What are they like with their fitness? What are they like in training? Who is their agent? Why are they in the game? Have they got patience? And how often we see it. These young players, they make these moves to these big clubs. You know they're never going to get a game. Like, I look at, you look at someone like a Joe Rodon, moved to Spurs when he was playing week in, week out for a Swansea. Moved to Spurs. You knew you weren't getting a game. And now his career has stalled for 4 or 5 years. Loan here, loan there.
He just moved for the money.
Moved for the money. But it's like there's a difference. As you say, there's a difference between having talent and having longevity. Because for me, it's like if you look at singers. How many singers come on the scene with a banging track and everyone goes, "Whoa, this is the next Eminem. This is the next Rihanna. This is..."
Yeah, based off one song. It's
based off one song.
Talking about someone's ceiling, bro. It's what you do.
Right. The top artists, I mean, we're still talking about Eminem. And I believe, sorry to take it down that path, I believe if I remember in my old age, Eminem's album Slim Shady came out in like 99. I think it was like 24, 25 years ago. And he's still going. So If you look at football, it's the same thing. There are players that burst onto the scene and everyone raves about them because they have half a good season. They have 5 good games. This player should be in the England squad. That player should be up front for Man United. This player should get a move to Real Madrid. We want them too quickly to be praised, to be put on a pedestal. And then we're very quick to go, oh my God, you're rubbish. Get off that pedestal that we put you on. You know,
but you know what that tells me, though? You know what that tells me? It actually solidifies my argument that footballers today are worse than they've ever been. Because if that wasn't the case, then why is there so much optimism for every single player that comes through? Back in the day, as a United fan, we used to understand that every kid that Sir Alex Ferguson gave a debut, and he gave loads of debuts, we understood that most of them weren't going to be here next season. We understood that. We never looked at these guys coming through and said, oh, you know what? Like, this is the future of Man United. Like, we never thought that. When we saw all of these kids coming in the the League Cup, whatever it was called at the time, because they changed the names all the time, but every time we played these kids in the League Cup, none of us were looking at these Man United players saying, you know what, this player's going to come through and do X, Y, Z, because we understood that we were going to go out in the transfer market and buy someone that was better than them, and they were going to end up somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you see players like Danny Simpson and all these guys, these were at Man United once upon a time, the Phil Bardleys of this world. Even Johnny Evans ended up moving on, and Johnny Evans was good enough to stay at Man United, but he was competing with some real world-class centre-backs. So it's just one of them things. When you look at it right now, we understood what these guys' places were. We actually understood that. We understood that the bar is extremely high and these guys are not going to make it at the club, but do you know what I mean? This is just a step in their progress or their evolution. Now, every single player now, oh yeah, like play him, give him this shirt and that shirt. It's like, no, mate.
See, for every single Gerrard, for every Lampard, for every James Milner, for every Gareth Barry, the people that come in and do it for 16, 17, 18, 20 seasons, there are 25 to 30 that outweigh that come in, do something amazing, and then drop down to League One, League Two, Conference League, the second division in Spain. Right? And this is the problem. Everybody is put on this pedestal, man. And do you know what, Rants? I'm not just saying this because I'm on your show. You know I feel the same about this. 100% right. The standard of footballer now is worse than I've ever seen it. I've watched the last month, obviously, where lots of people haven't been working as much and, you know, Christmas and all that. Been watching so many games, and the number of games I watch in the Premier League, which are just mistake ridden. They are just riddled. Yep. Jesus, mistake riddled, riddled with mistakes. Everyone giving the ball away. No one wants to hold on to it. Everyone trying to do things at 100 miles per hour, and then people going, "Oh, the pace of the Premier League is amazing." No, it's not. The pace of the Premier League is why no one is good in football. Not no one. Why so many players are not good in football anymore. Hardly anyone in the midfield now across any of these Premier League teams can put their foot on a ball, calm a game down and go, you know what? Let's take the sting out of the game. The days of a Michael Carrick going into a midfield and going, you know what? I'm going to speed the tempo up. Actually, we're under pressure. I'm just going to slow it down a bit now. Gone. Everything's 100 miles an hour. Every single thing is 100 miles per hour. Mistakes everywhere. And for me, I think you're right. The technical footballers are dying out. They're dying out. The flair, the technical footballer, it has gone. It is going nowhere. Quickly.
They're absolutely nowhere. And this is why, like, when people are talking about the Premier League, yeah, cool. It's the most entertaining league in the world in terms of, because it's a faster game, it's always going to be, for the neutrals, it's always going to be better to watch. It's always going to be better to watch, but like the technical level is so bad. Like even when I was watching the game yesterday, Man United were playing against a League One team, and from a technical standpoint, you couldn't see a big difference between the players. It's just that Man United, you could tell that like they were maybe half a second quicker, like in their heads. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's all it was. But the technical level wasn't mad. If the technical level was mad different, yeah, then we would have battered them 6-7-0. Because we had enough of the ball and we had enough chances to really kill them. However, we didn't, because the actual level of technical ability wasn't that high. Like there was no there was no quality in that Man United performance yesterday. There was none
Yeah.
whatsoever. So yeah, man, it's a very sad time. So
No,
that tells you what you
I
need to
agree with
know.
you. I agree with you. I think the fact that I can't ever remember, and whenever I say this on any YouTube show, everyone in the chat starts proving you wrong. But I can't remember a time where Man U, Arsenal, Chelsea, all at the same time didn't have a proper centre forward. Even Spurs, our top goal scorer historically is a wide man in terms of Son. I can't remember a time when this many top clubs didn't have a centre forward that scored 20 plus goals at the same time. And this is why players like Osimhen are being talked about at 125, 130 million for a bloke that scored 20 goals once in his career. Like,
Yeah,
it's
before you used to go, you could be
baffling.
able to go around to the Premier League and just take a striker from one of the smaller teams.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Yeah.
That's what we done with Dwight York. We done it with Louis Saha. Like, you can just go and just take someone. Like, there's no one to take now. You know what I mean? Because these guys are not good. This is the thing.
No, I completely agree with you.
They're not good. Where do you go in the Premier League now to go take a striker from anyone, like outside of like the big 6 teams? Like, where do you go and take a striker? It's only Ivan Toney that anyone's gonna talk about. He's the only one.
I mean, but when you look at it, I've just brought up the Premier League top goal scorers charts.
Yeah.
And the same 3 that are there every year: Salah, Haaland, Son. You'd expect those 3 to be there, right?
Yeah.
After that, like Solanke, so he's having a good year this year. Never anywhere near it normally. Bowen, 11 goals. Chan, first time he's had a really good year, right? 10. Watkins, good striker. No more, no less. Isak, you know. Then you've got Palmer and Buemo, Pedro, Chris Wood, Alvarez, Saka, Bailey. Where are the forwards? They're all
wide players.
Midfielders, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Where are the
players.
strikers?
Yeah, it's crazy. They're just not there.
No. But what do you make of Man United Tottenham Sunday, Old Trafford?
I think it depends on what Tottenham turn up, because I know what Man United are going to turn up. Not a very good one, like every game. So it just depends on what Tottenham turn up, innit? If the Tottenham that turns up are worse than us, then maybe we have a chance. But it very much depends on what you guys do, because one thing Man United are going to do is they're going to be rubbish. Because they're rubbish every game. They're rubbish every week. Like, we weren't good yesterday, and I think we must have had a good 30-odd shots. Good 30-odd shots, and we only scored 2 goals. So, and one of them was a penalty.
The thing is, I mean, I was saying on my show just now, I've got 2-2 in my mind. And the reason I say that is Spurs...
Us to score 2 goals is ambitious.
Yeah, I know, but I tell you why. Right? Is Spurs give away a hell of a lot of opportunities to our opposition. A hell of a lot of opportunities, especially on the break. You know, because we do play quite a high line. We do allow teams to go at us. And what we've got is, because we've got a Doggy and Porro, both good players, but they're both... when I say inverted, there's got to be another word, because they are so far inverted, Rants. They're almost central midfielders. And what teams are doing is they're seeing that gap in behind. I'm not blaming them. It's the system. It's going to happen. And the teams that are hurting us are the ones that can exploit that gap.
Yeah, just play that long ball.
Bournemouth had 24 chances in the game at White Hart Lane. 24. But again, you know, when I said big guns, they didn't have enough big guns.
Yeah.
Solanke and his mates couldn't finish the dinner. My worry is that we might see what you did to Villa in the second half, in terms of quite a high line, exploiting that with the pace of Rashford, with the pace of Garnacho. Now, listen, I don't think you're going to have a lot to break us down with other than that. No. But it's a very, very good.
Yeah, that's the only thing we have. Trick. But stylistically, Tottenham are one of the teams that you would rather play the way Man United are playing right now, because we can't break down teams if they don't put pressure on the ball and they don't come towards us. So I think that there's definitely, from a stylistic point of view, I think that there potentially could be a situation where it benefits us, but I can't trust us to take chances right now.
Hey, look, If the Tottenham turn up that played in the first 10 games of the season and then played against Newcastle, we could batter anyone on a day. Problem is, there's been a lot of performances lately, Rants, where we have not been that. You know, we went to Brighton and lost 4-1, and we were diabolical, to be brutally honest. Bournemouth, I mean, 3-1 really, really flattered us. Everton, we beat them 2-1. They were all over us for 60 minutes. So, listen, we're a good team, but I feel there's weaknesses there. I'd love to come away from Old Trafford with a big scoreline, but 4-2 to Brighton. Sorry, so it was 4-2, not 4-1.
Yeah.
But for me, they were 4-0 up, and sat back and went, "Come on, attack us." But look, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I just never. Before every game, I ask Spurs fans, "Give me a score prediction," and every time in the chat, 5-0, 6-1. 5, and it's like, hang on.
Oh man, these men are not serious.
Where are we getting these massive scorelines from? Yes, we beat Burnley 5-2 beginning of the season, and then we battered Newcastle 4-1. Other than that, Spurs games have not been comfortable, like in terms of scoreline.
Yeah, but that's why when you're saying 2-2, it's like, bro, we don't score 2 goals very often against anyone. That's why I can't see it, because I'm thinking, like, our attackers are struggling to score goals. So what, we're relying on 2 goals from midfielders or defenders to chip in? Like, I don't know, man. Because even though we're going to get chances, I still don't trust them to convert these chances. This is the thing.
That is one thing that I am grateful of. Listen, this will sound very much politician answer. I don't know what to expect from the game at all, because, as I said, I don't know which Spurs I'm going to get going into games. Am I getting the Spurs that turned up against Burnley the other night, which we looked poor? Is it the Spurs that battered Newcastle, where we looked brilliant and looked like we were going to score every time? I don't know. Does Werner play? Do we have Dragusin in by then? Do we have Dragusin in? Does he play? Does Van der Ven start? Here's another aspect to this, Rants. Van der Ven was on the bench for Spurs the other night because he's been out for 3 months, right?
So he's been training and everything.
He has. But the problem is, Van der Ven in the high line is always asked to do the covering job because he is rapid. For anyone who hasn't seen Van der Ven, he is rapid,
he's off.
Right?
He's off, but it puts extra pressure on the muscles for sure.
But yeah, after a 3-month injury, when you're that quick, how many times will he want to be chasing Garnacho and Rashford with that hamstring just coming back? So there's definitely an aspect to look at. I mean, does he start? He's had a whole week of training now. Does he start? I don't know. I don't know. It should be a good game.
If he's fit enough to train at full tilt, then if he starts, then it's not really a surprise. But because I don't know. I don't know if I would risk him. I really don't. I don't know if I'd risk him in a game that I don't have to win. I'm not necessarily expected to win. I'm going in as an underdog. It's like, why would I risk? Why would I risk a player that is key for me?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, but somebody in the chat said Jackson done him. How quick can he be? I would suggest that person's never watched Mickey van der Ven play. Mickey van der Ven is rapid, lightning quick. He was. I think he was the quickest. Was he the quickest defender or the quickest player in the Bundesliga last year? Like he is rapid. But when you're in those foot races, your hamstrings, they this. Put it this way: this will not be the last hamstring injury he has in his career.
No, not especially with that high line, because he's going to be doing a lot of sprinting over the longer distances. So
yeah. Absolutely.
No, he's a good player, man. You know what I'm saying? He sweeps very similar to what Varane does for us. So, no, he's a good player, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, listen, he is a good player. But I'm not expecting to see him, if he does start, I'm not expecting to see him with these long bursting runs that he does trying to get us out of trouble. I would expect that he'd probably be asked to sit 5 yards deeper than normal and take it slightly easier. But listen, it all depends on who you guys play, how often you get him behind. Because if it is him at the back with Emerson Royale. Royale is not slack, but he's not the quickest, and he'll have to do all the running. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good game, but it's the sort of game we need to win to stay in touch with the top four. We need to stay in touch. But I'm going to say a point. I reckon we're going to get a point.
I think that you can definitely get a point. I can't confidently say that we're going to leave with more than a point just based on how consistently poor we are. And also, I don't know what lineup we're going to put out, but I'm assuming it will be the same front four with Bruno, Rashford, Hojlund, Garnacho. And if it's that front four, man, I got zero optimism. I got zero faith in them scoring goals. That's what it is. Like I don't trust any of them four to do anything. Hojlund he's unbelievably bad. Like he's one of the worst forwards I've ever seen play for my club, and I've seen Bebe and that, like, and honestly, yeah, I genuinely feel like he's as bad as Bebe. Like,
listen, we'll help Hojlund get his United career off and running on Sunday. I'm sure of it. We'll gift him a couple of goals. Don't worry about that.
I don't know, bro. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. He's struggling, bro.
Yeah.
He's genuinely struggling against League One centre backs.
Yeah, I think for me the problem with a player like Rasmus Hojlund is, as we said back in the day, this is the sort of bloke you bring in and you introduce slowly off the bench. You know, it's the sort of bloke that you bring in. You remember the days of having a reserve team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is what football needs to get back to. Get a reserve team, right? Then you can bring in players and let them play reserve football so they're playing 90 minutes week in, week out. He should be playing in that and introduced slowly into games, 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there.
Yeah, they changed it to the under-21s. Before, they used to be able to go and get a run out for the reserves to get minutes.
Exactly. Do you remember, if you were bringing back, like for example, Spurs bringing back a Mickey van der Ven, it wouldn't be, right, you've played no football for 3 months.
Yeah, you would have gone and played in the reserves, and you would have seen him play on the reserves on Wednesday, and then said, all right, cool, we'll be on the bench on Saturday or Sunday.
Right. Honestly, I think football needs to get back to that. But look, I think Hojlund is a lot of pressure being put on him, whether he's that good or not. You know, a lot of pressure being put on him to come into a team that isn't functioning well. And to be fair, you should have a better caliber striker. He should be your number 2 or 3, right?
Oh,
if anything, he should be your 2 or 3. He should be coming
second
off.
Choice. You got to be second choice minimum. And for me, my third choice striker can be anyone. Even my third choice striker could be one of the academy lads. Do you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
even second choice, he ain't good enough. Like, even coming off the bench, it's like, what do you actually add? When I'm looking at him, I'm like, what do you actually give me? Like, he was meant to be quick. Yeah. On paper, he's meant to be a really quick striker, but he's not even smart enough to get into situations where he can use that pace. So it's like, what's the point of having it?
Yeah. Look, I don't know. I just think back in the day, Man United, they had so many options, so many top players. And I mean, you just got to look back. I know it's kind of all very romantic and nostalgic, but when you look back to your heyday of the 99 team and you had York, Cole, Sheringham and Solskjaer, and you look and go, oh, Jesus, what options? And now you're looking at, right, Hojlund starting, and then you're bringing on, who you bringing on after that? What striker you got at the club after Hojlund?
Yeah.
That's worrying. Like, not even like a brilliant 18-year-old kid. Do you know what I mean? Not even.
That's what I mean. We don't even have that. We don't even have no one coming through, bro. That's how crazy it is.
Yeah, Rasmus Veghorst, someone's calling him. Oh, that's him. That's how careers can get ruined very quickly before they start. Right, go into a big club, pressure on, not quite in the right setup.
But the thing is, when you look at his career, he ain't done great anyway. When you actually look at it, because he left. What was it, Rasmus? He left Denmark, yeah, and then I think he went.
Oh, sorry.
No, but I think he went Austria first or something.
Okay, let me have a look.
And then went Atalanta. I'm pretty sure he went Austria, and then he's gone Atalanta.
What's his name? Rasmus Hojlund. Yeah, I mean, so he was Copenhagen, then Sturm Graz, Yeah. Then Atalanta. Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
look.
And what's his record in Austria?
So his record in Austria in league games, he played 18 league games and got 9. I mean, he got 1 in 2.
That's what I
In
mean.
Austria. And then at Atalanta, he got 1 in 9, 18, just under 1 in 3 in the league. And now at United, he's got 1
So
in
that means
15.
he ain't been good anywhere. Like, when you actually look at him, he ain't been good nowhere. Because Copenhagen let him go to flipping Stumgratz. And to be honest, yeah, like, is that even a bigger club than FC Copenhagen, bro? Like, FC Copenhagen play Champions League football. I ain't seen Stumgratz in Champions League for a minute.
Do you know, the thing for me is a player like Hojlund, who's gone to Atalanta, and you go, okay, as a 19-year-old, you scored 9 in 32. Okay, as a 19-year-old, not bad. Not bad. Not bad. For me, players like that should then have another couple of years at that club. Build, grow, learn, less expectation. But the what was it, 70 million? Was it 70, 75, something like that?
72, yeah.
72 million price tag. Go into a club like Man U. It's what we talked about earlier. Too much, too soon, expectation. Let him do it at Atalanta. Let that record say he got 9 in his first year at Atalanta, 15 in his second, 20 in his third, and you go, okay.
Yeah, then you go scoop him up and he's still 22 years old.
Right. But it was, let's scoop him up. He's just, so you got him at 19, right? No, you got him
20.
after he just turned 20. He's 21 in February. You know, it's madness. That's how Man U have fallen, right?
But he's shite, bruv. Look at his CV as well. The CV's dead. When they heard Man United came in, yeah, and they were willing to pay 70 odd million, them guys were rubbing their hands thinking, these idiots. Because they couldn't have spent no money on him.
And they replaced him with Scamacca, right? They replaced him with Scamacca from West Ham. They've also got Louis Muriel. And then Ademola Lookman is there as well. And he's got 18, he's got 7 in 18 at Atalanta. And he got 13 in 31 last year. So both years he's got a better strike record than Hojlund. So that means someone should have gone and got
with a better player than him.
No. So yeah, interesting times. Yeah, interesting times.
He's awful, man. He's awful. And that's what I mean. And Man United fans don't want to have the discourse because it's like, oh, he's only young and that, bro. He's rubbish, bro. I know a striker when I see one. I mean, I've seen enough of them. He's
I need to jump in 5 minutes. Before I do, can I ask what you make of Nico Jackson? There's an interesting footballer.
He's better than Hojlund. I don't mind him. I don't think he's as bad as people are making out. He lacks composure, but he's got some fundamental things, yeah, that I like about him. Like, he receives the ball well and he's quite athletic, but his decision making is a bit weird and his finishing is a bit weird. But I would play him out wide. I don't think he's good enough to play as a lone number 9. I would play him off the left or off the right and see if he can develop as a player out there. But he's not as bad as players like Hojlund. He's technically, fundamentally way better than him. Way better than him.
See, don't you think? I almost feel sorry for Nico Jackson because for me, I don't think he was ever bought to be the main man leading the line.
No, and he wasn't expensive as well, bro. Like, it's not like they went out and spent 60, 70 million on Nico Jackson. I swear they got him for like 30 odd or something.
I think I think it's 31 million pounds. I think it was 31 million. Yeah,
he was never meant to be the main striker. So because he was never meant to be the main guy, I always believed that they were bringing this guy in for squad depth, and then he turned out being the main guy because they didn't get no one else. That's not his fault.
Yeah, it's funny because was one of the games I watched the other day, and his all-round game he did some really nice stuff. He did some really nice stuff. It was like you said that you used the key word there, the C word, the composure. When he was through on goal, you know, sometimes a player goes through on goal and you just go, "You're gonna finish this." Like you turn on, like Jermaine Defoe was one of them. When he played for Spurs, I thought, Jermaine Defoe in the box, yeah, he'll score this. Lives for it. Lives it, breathes it, drinks it. I watched Nico Jackson, I thought, that's a guy that hasn't grown up as a natural goal scorer. He gets in great positions, doesn't quite know how to adjust his feet. Then you look at a player like Erling Haaland, natural goal scorer, knows how to adjust his feet, knows where he wants to
But
finish.
also, he knows he's a goal scorer. Like, do you know what I mean? He just
Yeah.
knows he's a goal scorer. That's his game. That's his identity. His identity is goals, isn't it? That's what he lives for. Jackson is an all-round player. He just looks like he just wants to play football. There's nothing that screams centre forward about him, bro. Like, I play him out on the wing. That's what it is, because he's got a decent touch. He does little neat and tidy things, but he don't look like a striker. He doesn't look like he wants to score. Like, you can tell what a striker looks like. Because strikers, they want to fight their teammates for goals. Like they care, innit? This guy, he's too selfless to be a striker. Like, even when I see him get into positions on pass, I'm like, this guy ain't no striker. He not really.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Chelsea interest me at the moment. I think they're going to start creeping up the table. They're starting to actually play some good stuff, but anyway, I'm sure that's for another day.
No, 100%. But yeah, you guys, make sure you subscribe to Football Heritage TV. If you haven't already, the link is in the title. What you got coming up?
At the moment, during January, got my morning show every morning, because one thing, it's never dull at Spurs. We're always in the news for something. And then just the usual shows throughout the week. And if anyone did want to subscribe, be really appreciative. On the road to 13K. So we're slowly getting there, Ants, from the days of being on 1K.
That's it. So moving,
slowly
man.
growing. Slowly growing.
You know what I mean? So yeah, man, you guys check that out. And yeah, definitely just keep an eye on the channel. Loads of uploads coming every day. Super chat before we leave. Thoughts on Alexander Isak. I like him, but he's another one. He's very erratic. He's a very erratic player. He's good, man. He's good when he's good, and he's rubbish when he's rubbish, innit? Like, it's just, it's one of them things. He's another one. He cost 70 odd million pounds. People forgetting that Newcastle spent a lot of money on him. And yeah, like, he scored some individually good goals, but
do you remember he scored that goal and they were going, oh, he's like Henry? I was like, hang on.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. He's a 70 million pound striker because he scored one good goal, not really. You know what I mean? So I don't really know, innit? I don't really know with Isak. I think he's a good player. I think he's overrated. Yeah, and I don't think he's ever going to be the striker to score like big numbers. Week in, week out, year in, year out. I never see him being a 30 goal a season, 25 goal a season striker. I don't see it.
I think he's one of those that is capable of magic.
Yep, that's it.
Every now and then. And I think when he does that bit of magic, people go, oh my God, generational baller. All these words come out. For me, I'll end it on this. The word I like for any footballer, consistency.
Yep,
consistency.
100%.
I don't want a worldie every 5 games. I want consistency. Consistency. That's what separates the best players in the world from the maybe players.
No, 100%. So yeah, man, big up everyone for watching. Make sure you smash the like. And yeah, man, I'll catch you guys back here in a bit.